And a lot of stuff I'm going to teach you is biblical-based principles, right? Because I believe that the Bible is God's manual book for life. Have you been failing tragically and you don't know why? Have you been pulling your hair out and you're wondering, why is nothing working for me? Why is everything I touch turning to dust? And I know people that everything they touch turn into diamonds. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how you could change your life if you let these principles that I'm gonna teach you change you. It's not an if, it's not a but, it's not a maybe, it's a will change. If you abide by these principles, you will be successful, massively successful, to the tunes of $1 million a year, right? And I'm not telling you theory, right? I'm telling you what I've actually done. I made $1 million a year since I was 19. It was about 1 to 2 years I didn't do it. I'm 23 right now. But since I was 19, I've been making big bucks. And a lot of stuff I'm going to teach you is biblical-based principles, right? Because I believe that the Bible is God's manual book for life, right? So it's things from the Bible that we could take to help our life. It's a lot of things. Everything in the Bible is for our good. Everything in the Bible is to help us and advance us. It's like, let's say you're taking the trip from Texas to California, and you know there's going to be, you know it's going to be hard. You don't know where you're going. You know the weather going to be, sometimes it's going to be raining, sometimes it's going to be snowing. Imagine if you had a GPS that's going to tell you where to go, what to avoid, what pitch to avoid, when the weather is going to be off, what to do in this situation, what to do in that situation. Well, I want to give y'all encouragement to tell y'all that God gave us that in the Bible. God gave us a book that if we abide by certain principles, that things must happen, right? Things must happen. Principles are God's automation. Give and it shall be given unto you. Whatever you give, it's going to be given unto you. If you give love, it's going to be given unto you. If you give kindness, it's going to be given unto you, right? Whatever you plant, you must reap. God don't have to come down and put his hand on that. God don't have to come down and physically do it himself or spiritually do it, because he put principles in the earth that is automatic, right? It's automatic. He don't have to come down and do it because it's an automation he put in the world, right? So if we know the automations and we work with the principles instead of working against the principles, our life will be extremely better. Extremely better. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about you doing his will. I'm talking about being successful, right? And success is way beyond money. Success is whatever God puts you on this earth to do. If God puts you on this earth to help people that's going through mental health issues and you're making $30K a year, don't think because you're not successful versus somebody who's making $1 million a year. The person who's making $1 million a year could be out of his purpose and could be completely miserable. Like, I've been around millionaires. I've been around people who own 300, 400, 500 rental properties. I've been around people who make millions of dollars a year, and some of them are miserable. Miserable. So success does not always equal money. So I know you're young watching this video, or you may be older, but this video is how to create wealth and how to get rich young. But just understand, money is not everything, right? Success is not tied to money. Know that first before I get into what I'm really, the principles that made me massively successful. So one of the first principles is give and it shall be given unto you, Luke 6:38. And again, this Bible verse is not talking about money, but it's a concept in there called the law of it, that if you can apply it to your life, you could start using that automation that God put in to start making it work for you. So, again, a law of it states, give and it shall be given unto you. What is it? It is whatever you put in that space. If you give more love, it's going to be given unto you. If you give more kindness, it's going to be given unto you. If you give more money, it's going to be given unto you, right? So I started really turning up in real estate around 2020. I was 18 in 2020. May 2020, I partnered up with my business partner. And we told ourselves we're going to make $100,000 a year. $100,000 in a month before the end of the year. It's already made. Half the year already gone. At that point, I never made over $50,000 a year. $50,000 a month. So I had this big audacious goal, and I'm telling myself that I have to hit $100,000 by the end of the year in terms of in a month. So what I did was I started using God's automations. I started giving. I started tithing. And maybe closed one deal. I think it was like $7,000. We gave 10% of it. The second month, I think we made $20,000. We gave 10% of it. Because when God knows that you can be a conduit of his blessing and he can work through you instead of being a cul-de-sac of his blessing, meaning that he give it to you and it's stuck because you're not willing to give, you're not willing to let it out that cul-de-sac, then he's not going to bless you because you're not blessing other people, right? And he could be using you for his will, for what he wants to accomplish, right? But you're so worried about me, what I got, you're not willing to give for the other person to help them get what they're give to help a need, to help in their life, right? So giving this shall be given unto you. And in December, we made $100,000 on the last month of the year. We didn't even make $100,000. We made $140,000. God will do it. God will absolutely do it, right? Another principle, if you don't work, you don't eat. It's crazy. I was just talking to my producer before the camera started rolling, and he was telling me how he knew somebody. He was saying, God told me I shouldn't work. You a lie? You a lie. Because the Bible says, if you don't work, you don't eat. So if you don't want to do the work, if you waking up watching YouTube all day or watching sports all day and you're not working, you're not going to be successful. You have to do the work. Do the hard work. The hard work is what produces what you want in life. You have a choice. Are you going to choose discipline to do the work, or are you going to choose desire to destroy you? You have to choose what you're going to choose. And you're going to be a slave to discipline, or you're going to be a slave to desire. You're going to be a slave to one of those. I'd rather be a slave to discipline, though. And I was a slave to desire at one point. To even give y'all more, once I was a slave to desire, and I'm young, but when I start giving over to my desires, just being honest, start smoking weed and start doing other things I know I wasn't supposed to be doing. When I tell you that led to poverty, y'all, when I tell you I had to bounce back from that, because when you start focusing on your desires versus focusing on the discipline, you're going to destroy yourself. You're going to destroy yourself. So do the work. It's hard. You don't want to do it. But you're going to be, once you become a slave to discipline, it's going to be like clockwork. Every day you want to do it. Like when I was smoking weed, every day I wanted to smoke a blunt, 3-4 times a day. I didn't have to force myself to do it. I was a slave to it. Whatever you yield your members to, you become a slave. I was a slave to that. But once I changed and become a slave to a discipline again, that discipline started producing the fruits that I wanted it to. And it was hard, but I got through it. So again, do the work and become a slave to discipline, become a slave to righteousness over evilness, and God will bless you. And again, he'll bless you based off of his will for you. Again, like I said earlier, success is not always tied to money. Success is not always tied to money. So you can get a blessing through family. You can get a blessing in health. You can get a blessing in peace of mind when the world is crumbling around you and God gave you peace that you can't even understand. So blessings are far more than financial. Blessings are far more than financial. Far more than financial. The next principle I want to give y'all is wisdom is worth more than gold. Wisdom is worth more than gold. A lot of people start some, only do it for 2 weeks, and then they stop because it's not working for their bank account. But just because it's not working for your bank account doesn't mean it's not working on you. Right? All work works. If it don't work for your bank account, it's working on you to become the person that can deserve it working for their bank account. You're not the person that you need to be right now. So the work that you're doing, understand what you're getting from it, what you're learning from it, what you're going through from it, the lessons, the losses, the hardships, the everything that's for a greater purpose. And stop looking at the money all the time. It's crazy. Like, this video is how you can become successful young financially. And I'm telling you not to focus on money. Like, think about that right now. Because when you focus on the money, you lose the money. And people don't understand that. But when you focus on the money, you lose the money. For example, I was working at Jason's Deli. That was my first job. I was making $7.25 an hour. I found out about real estate, and I quit my job the next day. Again, I was 17 years old. I didn't have responsibilities. I was living with my parents. So I could do that. I could do that at that time. And if you're young right now, if you're living with your parents, if you don't have that many responsibilities, this is the time to take the risk. Don't wait till you're older to take the risk. It's going to be way harder. You can still take the risk and win, but take the risk when you're living with your parents. Take the risk when you don't have that many kids. Take the risk when you don't have a family to provide for, when you don't have that car note, when you don't have that mortgage. Take the risk when you have the least to lose. But it's funny because the people who have the least to lose are the most scared to lose it. But the people who have the most to lose are the most faithful and the most non-fearing of not losing it, right? And it's crazy. That's just crazy to me. But that was a side note. So again, wisdom is worth more than gold. And again, when I was working at Jason's Deli at that time, I quit my job, and in 4 months, it took me 4 months to make a cent in real estate, make a penny in real estate. But when I made the money, it was $37,000 in one deal. If I kept working at Jason's Deli for $7.25 an hour and focusing on the money, I would have never made $37,000. And mind you, y'all, I did the math. It would have taken me 2.5 years if I stayed at Jason's Deli to make the money I made in 4 months, because I changed my focus. I'm not worried about the gold. I'm worried about the wisdom and me learning real estate, me going through the struggles of real estate, me learning, because I know when I'm 5 years down the line, the wisdom of me knowing real estate is going to serve me more than the money that Jason's Deli could give me, right? The next thing, Proverbs 18:20 states, a man's stomach shall be satisfied from the fruit of his mouth. From the produce of his lips shall be filled. What does that mean? We have to change what we're speaking. When we change what we speak, we change what we see. When we change what we speak, we change what we think, right? So, right now, after you watch this video, stop thinking that whatever you touch turns to dust. Start thinking that whatever you touch turns to diamonds, y'all. And have that belief. Write it down, and when doubt seeps in, repeat that message to yourself over and over and over and over and over. Repeat that to yourself and watch how you're going to start eating the fruit of diamonds instead of eating the fruit of dust. Let's eat the diamonds. Let's not eat the dust, right? Lastly, start planting seeds. Start planting seeds. A lot of people will be looking around for the shade, but didn't plant no tree. And be like, where the shade at? You ain't planting no tree, buddy. You ain't planting no tree. Start planting trees so you can live in the shade and your family can live in the shade, right? Proverbs 24 says, lazy farmers don't plow when they should, but they expect a harvest, but there is none. Lazy people don't want to work and expect things to be given to them, but there's not going to be anything. It's not going to be anything. A standard apple tree takes 4 to 8 years to start producing fruit. What does that tell us? It's not a definite time on when success is going to happen for you. So how can you be successful young when you're 19, 20, 21, 22? Put everything you have into being successful financially and understand, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen, right? And let's take the principles from nature, like a tree, 4 to 8 years. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. And when it happens, you're gonna thank yourself that you didn't focus on what you didn't have, and you was focusing on what you did have. You was focusing on planting seeds. You was focusing on the wisdom versus the gold. You was focusing on believing in yourself. You was focusing on what you spoke. So those are the principles that helped me be super, super financially successful young and super successful in life young. So if you like this video, subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see y'all on the flip side.